All right, we should be live. Welcome back. Welcome back to Clash of Cultures, episode 25. Kind of weird that it's ending on number 25 in our final live of the 2023 season. Obviously, just wrapped up. Michigan winning the national championship. Something that I thought that was going to happen, early in the year. I didn't want it to be true.
Man, you went back and forth on that.
But if you go back and look at the previews,
You
I
said
went
it in
back.
the
So
beginning.
now I did pick against them last week with the Alabama, but through the entirety of the year, they were my pick to win it all. I wanted to be wrong, but they were my pick to win it all. Obviously, got my dad on the show per usual, and then we have Edgar, who's been on the show quite a few times with NBA, hip hop, and I think this is his first college football episode. But Washington fan, his first year really getting into college football. He had a wild ride, a roller coaster of a ride this year. Came up short, obviously, but I mean, there was still a really good season for Washington. Probably the best season they've had in quite some time. I mean, the last time they went to the playoff was against Alabama. They lost in the semifinal 10 years ago or, 9 years ago, something like that. Maybe not that long ago, maybe 6. But other than that, I mean, really good season so far for them. Penix obviously leaving for the draft, losing a lot. So they're looking to rebuild. But Edgar, I'm going to start with you. As a Washington fan, what is your kind of takeaway from the season? Obviously, a sour taste, for the last game of the year. But what is your takeaway from it, man?
Honestly, bro, I will be honest. You said to leave the season on a sour note. I'm proud of the team, man. I'm very proud to get into the game this year. Obviously, I think last year was kind of my start to actually watching football, and I owe it to you because you would always throw that on at work. So I would say this is my first full year actually like watching and taking note. So I'm proud of the team, man. I mean, we came up short. Win, lose.
This dude, Brandon, is crazy. You wouldn't have came on here last week when Alabama lost, though. So you can't. I respect Edgar for getting on here after a loss, but keep going, bro.
Win or loss, man. I'm proud of the guys. They showed out this year. I think to start out the year, obviously we weren't really. I think until that Oregon game, that's kind of when we played our first tough team.
When I said in here, I mean how Edgar is actually in the show, not like I didn't mean in the comment section.
I think that was our first test, and then after that, we kind of struggled throughout the year. We did have a lot of close games, but I mean, we were able to go on. We were able to keep winning each and every single game, even though it came down to the wire. So I would say, man, as much as we had a lot of highs, there were times when, I thought we were going to lose. But, I mean, we were able to pull out each and every single game, and it led us to where we were at today. Obviously, I wanted to win, but I can't be mad at the result because we got there, and I could say we made it to the championship game.
So before I asked my dad how he felt about it, at what point in the game did you feel like, okay, this game is over? Because I feel like Washington have such a good offense, like it really wasn't over until it was over, kind of thing.
I feel like the way we started the third quarter, bro, Penix kind of just threw it up in the air, and I think he meant to throw it out of bounds and didn't have enough power on it, and that pick really just shifted everything because I think I'm not saying we were going to go out on a run to start off the third half, but obviously, or the third quarter, but we literally scored at the end, and I'm like, okay, maybe this can change as soon as the quarter starts. Maybe it can kind of help us at least go down the field and get into field goal range or score another touchdown. But I think that's kind of where I saw it just kind of change.
Okay. Dad, what do you take away from this game? Obviously, you're an Ohio State fan, so I don't know really.
Yeah,
I'm sure you don't like this. But.
So there's a bunch to hate as an Ohio State fan.
CV!
But like, what up, Christian? But like, as a college football fan, Michigan is exactly who they were and have been for the last couple of years. They won this game in the trenches. Washington had a hard time stopping that running game. 300 yards rushing, really not much of a passing game. This is kind of just like we talked about keys to the game. Could Washington do something in the trenches? And they struggled there. That's where they struggled. And although I don't think Penix was sacked, but maybe once or twice, you can tell that pressure was getting to him. You can tell he was not going through his progressions as normal. You can tell, and Guinea Pig here says it, that he was hurt. So they hit him. They pounded him. They made life very hard for him. Passes that
nothing. Keep going.
Passes that he normally hits easily. He missed. He was short. He was left. He was right. There were a couple plays where it just looked like, he just was out of sync. But I think my end story is this is probably a good story for college football. Michigan, at the end of the day, at its core, is a team that basically stuck together. Didn't take a bunch of transfer guys out of the transfer portal. Not saying they didn't have any. They had a couple. I know their left tackle came out of the transfer portal, but most importantly, and Blake Corum kind of talked about it in his post-game interview, this is a team that stuck together. They came back with a mission in mind, and they were able to get that done. I hope this speaks to a bunch of players out there. I hope this speaks to Ohio State players, as we have a bunch of players that are kind of about to make their decision. These were two teams, and we talked about this in our preview video. Two teams that combined had 1 5-star player. So this was about development. This was about chemistry. This was about guys sticking together, working out, figuring out how to play together. Like I said, this is a victory for college football. I'm excited for next year. Next year, everything changes from conferences to the playoffs. This is the last year with college football as we know it, because next year it's going to look drastically different. But I think this was a good way to go out. Not as an Ohio State fan, but as a college football fan, as a fan of teams sticking together, as a fan of guys staying with their team and not using the transfer portal to build a team. I loved it, but hate that Michigan won. What's your thoughts?
So, my thought is, I knew it. There was going to be a blowout at some point in the playoffs. I didn't think it was going to be in this game. I thought it was going to be last round with the Washington-Texas game, but I knew it was going to happen. We've had, like I said, 9 years of consistency when it comes to having a blowout or two in the playoffs. So I knew it was going to happen at some point. And really, this game probably should have been a little bit more uglier than it was, especially in the first half. I think Washington scoring that last touchdown kind of shifted momentum a little bit back towards their favor, but it could have got out of hand early. Especially with, the first interception right out the gate in the second half, the first play. So I kind of thought it was going to be over quick, but then Washington still kind of stayed in it right to the end, like until like the 4 or 5 minute mark. And like I said, they have the most explosive offense in college football. So I wasn't surprised by it. But I also think, like I said, it was going to come down to, I said this in the preview, Edgar, you weren't here in the preview. I'm sure you watched the video though. It was going to come down to the red zone defense for Michigan. I literally said, the only way Washington is going to win this game is they're going to have to score on big chunk plays, because once they get in the red zone and the field shrinks, we saw Michigan against Penn State stop them on like 9 consecutive plays on the goal line and held them to either field goal or they went for it and didn't score. So it was going to be the same situation where Washington was going to get to the goal line and they were going to get stood up over and over and over again. And that proved to happen. We saw in the first drive, they went down and took 3. I think another drive, they went for it on 4th down and didn't get it, I believe. So just a lot of missed opportunities on Washington's side, but I don't think it's Washington's fault. I just think Michigan's defense was legit this year, and they proved it throughout the entirety of the season. So, I mean, obviously they showed up when it mattered most. But I will say this. After the game was over, I feel like this was like the first national championship that I didn't like after I wasn't like, it didn't feel like it just happened. It was kind of weird just because.
What do you mean?
Like, for example, I feel like every national championship, regardless of if Clemson has been playing the last 10 years, like I feel like the national championship felt like the national championship. This game, for some reason, I just wasn't invested in it like I normally was. And even when like the game was over, like I didn't have that like itch of, oh my gosh, like Michigan just won the national championship like I have the last 15 years. So it's kind of weird. Maybe it's just I'm so excited for the 12-team playoff and what's going to, happen next year that I'm kind of just over the 14 playoff. So I don't know if that's the case, but it just didn't feel like it normally did when it came to the national championship. I know like the semifinal was like, I felt like that was the semifinal, but this week it was kind of just like I woke up today, didn't thinking that like we're going to crown somebody today. Like I didn't feel like that.
No, well, I think for me, maybe it was a little bit different because I had a little bit invested. Obviously wanting Michigan to lose, that being our rival. So maybe I was a little bit more invested. I also work with a couple of Michigan fans, and obviously, if you guys know me, I am very Ohio Stated out. My desk has an Ohio State calendar and an Ohio State stuff. So it's pretty obvious. And then the, I guess you say, fun or unfortunate part in this is that I happen to be these people's boss, so it's kind of fun to pick on the boss a little bit. So I know going tomorrow, going to work, that I'm going to hear this in probably a couple weeks. The bad part is what I hate. And Steven, you probably feel this a little bit more than maybe Edgar, and only because I know you're new to college football. I hate that I'm going to go in and they're going to kind of razz me, which I'm fine with that. But I know they don't know much about college football. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not saying Michigan's not their team. I have two guys that work for me that both are Michigan fans, but both of those guys are not big college football fans. Like, I'm not even sure that they, understand what happened or how it happened. Except for, I definitely do not have a Nick Saban poster. But beyond that, this was a big game. This was a big moment. And what I also have to say is, props and respect to Jim Harbaugh. I'm keeping this team together in a very crazy season for Michigan. What I do like, what you have to love, he is one of the few coaches that is coaching his alma mater. He is a Michigan man, as they say. He played at Michigan, if you guys kind of know the history. Has a deep love for Michigan. Always wanted to coach at Michigan. And remember that Jim Harbaugh, there was a point in time when he had that long streak of not beating Ohio State, where they were calling for his job, where they were basically saying he needed to be fired. So he was able to push through some of that controversy, some of that adversity. So to kind of see that climb, to see him still pushing, seems like and I'm going to say this as an Ohio State fan, seems like a very good guy. Seems like his players love him. Seems like his coaching staff loves him. But I just can never like him like that, just being a Michigan guy. But kudos to them, man. All props due. I think this is one season where, outside of whatever it is you say about the cheating stuff, and I'll kind of throw that out of the window, there's really no controversy. They won. They beat Alabama fair and square. They beat Ohio State fair and square. They beat Washington fair and square. There wasn't no weird call. There wasn't anything outside of that where you can say, well, they should have lost. There's no controversy. Michigan's the champ. They deserve it. They have proven themselves to be the best team all year. They've proven themselves to be the most consistent team, the team with the best offense and defense combination. They know exactly who they are. They won in the manner in which they've won all year. So kudos to them.
I agree. Edgar, obviously the 2023 season just ended. But I know you just, like I said, started following Washington. What is your kind of this obviously very early, but what is your kind of outlook? Like, okay, like I feel like next year can be what? What is your kind of expectation or optimism for next year as far as losing Penix and obviously making it to the top of college football?
Well, I mean, we're losing our starting QB, and we're also losing, a bunch of just our wide receiver core.
Yeah.
We're losing a few of our defensive players. I think we might be a solid middle of the pack. I'm not saying we're going to be a top 25 team, but I think it's going to be a step backward. And I think a lot of Huskies fans that I've talked to, just at work, have actually said the same thing. But I'm excited. I mean, like I said, it's going to be a different season next year. Whereas this season, like you said, we were at the very top. So it's going to be good to go into next season and not really have expectations for the team, I would say, because I'm not going to say we're going to replicate exactly what we did this year. But it's just going to be fun to watch them and just see how our coach is going to deal with next year's players and then the year after that. And like Guinea Pig said, DeBoer is a hell of a coach.
Yeah.
For him to do that in 2 years, I mean, I literally realized today this is only his third loss as our coach, which is crazy to think about it. He's only lost 3 games as the coach. So bright future with him and whoever he brings along with him, man.
Yeah, I think Washington, like you said, is going to take a bit of a step back next year. I think they'll be right around top 25, though. I don't think they're going to fall that far out. Obviously, they're going to get a lot of transfer portal players. I'm sure they're not done in the portal as well. Recruiting is probably going to skyrocket a bit for them with DeBoer staying, obviously, with them making it to the national championship, putting a little bit more spotlight on the program. So I would expect them to get more guys, especially homegrown guys. A lot of the guys in Washington we saw Buka go to Ohio State. We see, all types of players go to the Blue Bloods. And we kind of alluded to that when we did our Hawaii. We talked about Hawaii in a podcast before. A lot of the good players from Hawaii, they leave. So hopefully Washington, with obviously them having a really good year, having their second appearance in the playoffs, which, some teams have never even made the playoffs, and they've been there twice, been in the national championship. So I think that's going to be a plus for recruiting for them. Obviously, the transfer portal, they're going to hit on that. I'm pretty sure they already got a quarterback. Didn't they get Will Howard or no?
No, Ohio State got Will Howard.
No, we got
Will Rogers. Will Rogers. Okay, that's what they got from Mississippi State. So, I mean, if you guys seen his numbers from when he had Leach as the coach, he had as good as numbers, if not better than Penix. So I think he's kind of fit to sling the ball around.
I'm not going to say yet. Penix has thrown for 4,500 yards the last 2 seasons. I don't think he did that.
He threw how much? He didn't throw for 4,500 2 seasons in a row, did he?
2 seasons in a row, he did.
Here, let me pull up Will Rogers stats.
Yeah, I think he probably finished with 4,800 this year if we count this.
So
game.
Will Rogers threw for 4,700, and then he threw for 4,000 yards. So just about, like I said, just about. And then obviously getting a new coach, they didn't have that air raid anymore with Leach being gone. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see him in that offense because I think he can fit well. I'm not saying he's going to be a Heisman caliber player like Penix is. I just think he can fill that void a little bit.
Well, and let's remember that Penix, now while he played well at Indiana, he wasn't putting up numbers like this at Indiana. So, obviously something about playing at Washington, playing in that system. And let me say, they put a tremendous amount of talent around him. Now I'm sure Rome is going to leave. And like you mentioned, Edgar, we'll see kind of what the rest of this looks like for Washington. But I would also hope that Washington and what you saw is what you're starting to see a lot more, a bunch of Washington players kind of sitting watching the Michigan celebration. And what I'm only saying that to say what a bunch of the Washington players may do is say, hey, we want to come back and we want to finish this next year. Like I said, I'm sure Penix and Rome are gone. But
Penix is out of eligibility. He can't stay again, I don't think.
Man, people be finding eligibility all
You're
of a
right.
sudden. It's a dude who what, seventh
was playing
year?
like his 7th season. Yeah, something like that.
So people be finding eligibility. But Penix is also probably a first round pick, maybe second round pick. So it's not like he has to come back. But some of the other players on this team may come back. Like I said, just simply to try to finish this story.
Kind of like what Michigan did, obviously. Yeah, there was no reason for Corum to come back. No. I don't think he boosted his draft stock at all.
At all.
Yeah, I just think he got what he wanted, which was a ring. Same thing with Donovan Edwards. It was kind of weird. Throughout the year.
Donovan Edwards probably hurt his draft stock.
And it's crazy because throughout the year, he was really quiet. But I would say he was probably the MVP in this game. So he kind of made up for it.
Big runs.
Yeah, two big runs, 6 carries, over 100 yards. Did not have a great season. Like I said, I hope, and like Tweety said, it hurts me to say this, but I hope that teams take this Michigan blueprint. I hope the players take this Michigan blueprint. The transfer portal's cool, but if you're really trying to achieve a national championship, the way to do it is stay with your team, stay where you are, stick it out. Wait till your 3rd, 4th year. And you get that nice core of 3rd, 4th year guys like Michigan had, it can really turn into something.
Definitely. Edgar, do you have anything to kind of close us out regarding your Huskies, or do you pretty much have everything off of your chest regarding the season? I'm very surprised you got on the show. I'm not gonna lie. I'm very surprised.
No,
just because I'm gonna be honest. This is like I got on after a loss multiple times, but losing the national championship is a little bit different.
Yeah, I wouldn't have got on.
So like that's kind of crazy. I'm not gonna lie. So obviously you're not as invested as me and my dad yet.
Yeah, I'm not.
Did I get
a
on
lot of
after
years
the
in.
Ohio State Michigan game? I think
I don't
we were.
remember.
I think he did, but you guys delayed it. I want to say.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I mean, hats off to Michigan, man. They showed up. They showed up, and that defense proved why they were the best defense in the nation. And like I said earlier, man, I'm proud of the team, proud of the guys. Whatever comes next for the team, I'll be watching for as long as I can. But I'm just excited, man. I'm excited for next year. Can't wait. Hell of a season, like you guys have said. Hell of a year for us.
Yeah,
and just can't wait, man.
So, Guinea Pig, next season, are you gonna get on for a Notre Dame preview or what? You've been rocking with us for 6 months, man. You gonna get on for a Notre Dame preview? Let us know.
I don't even know what guinea pig looks like.
Me either. I was about to say that. He gonna get on in a guinea pig suit.
Man,
You about to say something crazy?
No.
He was about to say
Hey,
something crazy.
I mean, as we're kind of wrapping up, I'll give my yo. It is crazy.
Man.
It is
Wild.
crazy, and Sterling just said it. It's crazy to think. I remember back to doing preview videos with my
Daily.
son as we kind of transitioned into becoming more into college football. Obviously, as you guys know, that's probably how we've started talking to a good portion of you guys. We kind of built this community, man. It has been fun. We thank you truly for rocking with us this season. I think we have a good plan for kind of the off season as we get ready to get back into next season. Obviously, college football is one of those things that the season is over, but it's not going to end. We still got transfer portal. We still got what's going to happen with depth charts. We got, you guys probably heard, and I think Bama talked about it. Quinshawn Judkins is coming to the crib.
He didn't even announce it yet.
Coming to Ohio State, it don't matter. We know.
I hope he doesn't go now, just so that way I can brag about it.
And I'm hoping that him and Trey together give us that two-headed monster in the backfield. But stories are going to continue to break. We're going to continue to do our recaps. We're going to obviously at some point in time transition back into previews for next season. So a lot that's going to be going on. Thank you guys for rocking with us this season. We ask that you continue to rock with us as we go through this off season. It has been a hell of a season. College football will never look the same. Next year is going to be so fun with the super conferences, right? All the great games that we're going to see between now the 16 or 18 team SEC, the 18 team Big Ten. It is going to be fun. The 12 team playoff, which probably takes some of the discussion out of who and where, but is going to still bring up a lot of discussions of who that now our conversation is going to shift from who's 4 and 5 to who's 12 and 13. So thank you guys. Appreciate all the love this season. We only hope that we can continue to provide meaningful content.
And also, again, please do us a quick favor. Share this channel, this stream, this live show to a friend so that way we can get help from everyone to help us get to 1,000 subscribers. I think we're like 25 away or 24
we still
away.
got that jersey that we've been on.
They're trying to get rid of that jersey, bro.
I would love to give the jersey away before the end of January. So please, if everybody who views this show sends this to a friend and tells them to subscribe.
Tell a friend and tell a friend.
Then we're
subscribing
good.
is free. It literally costs nobody nothing.
Greg, send it to your mother. Tell her to subscribe.
Yo,
I know
wow.
Greg. I know him personally.
Oh, I was like, damn. We're
No,
bringing people's mothers into this.
Everybody have somebody subscribe for us so that way we can help get to that 1,000 subscriber mark. We're going to continue with the recaps. Back to daily uploading. I think we've uploaded every day for like the last week or so already. So we're going to continue with that. The recap series is going to be very fun. Hopefully we find more people in here to talk football with us. We're still going to do our live shows once a week. It'll be either Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We'll announce it during the week as we go. But we appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning into another live show. And that is the end of the 2023 season. We'll see you guys tomorrow.